The interview you're about to watch is going to be a short one, but extremely powerful. It's with a girl named Sophia. She's 13 years old. And she came to my attention because she sent me a beautiful email about how she follows all the work that I do and watches all the disclosure segments and read the pyramid code and rays of light. And it really inspired me to ask her if I can interview her, because it really shows the world that there are kids that are awakening as well, and that the new generation and the next generation is one that has a whole lot of hope to make this world a better place. So I'm going to bring Sophia into this interview right now, into this video right now, and I look forward to hearing from her. I've never spoken to her before. Let's give her the attention she deserves because she's putting in the work. Let's inspire her to continue moving forward, and maybe inspire her friends and other people and other children that are her age to do the same exact thing. And let's share this interview far and wide to inspire the world and show the world that the next generation is one that we can have hope for. Check it out. All righty, everybody. Today I am joined by a very special guest. Her name is Sophia, and she is 13 years old. She's the next generation, the new generation of what this world is going to have leading us one day. And the way that Sophia really came into my awareness is because she actually sent me and my team an email. And I want to read that email today to all of you before we introduce Sophia officially, because of the power that it really brought to me, where once I saw this, I said, wait a second, we need everybody to know who this girl is, what she's doing, and the fact that somebody at her age is actually stepping up to make a difference and stepping up to awaken herself to help the world around her. So before we introduce you, Sophia, I want to just read this email real quick and we'll go in because I have questions for you. So the email goes as follows. I got this a few weeks ago. She wrote, "Good evening, Mr. Shirka." You can call me Jason, by the way. "Good evening, Mr. Shirka. My name is Sophia and I am 13 years old. I would like to start with telling you how grateful I am for you and the entire TLS team for spreading love and awareness to the world and helping us bring our spirituality level higher. At the age that I am in, I must say that lots that I have read and watched, including Disclosure 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, the Pyramid Code, and currently reading the 241 pages of the English version of Rays of Light, it's very hard for my brain to take it, to understand. It usually takes me multiple days for me to really understand and go over the information that I have read and watched. I do my best to accept this and accept that some things that may seem different at this point of time, I will understand when hopefully I will move into higher dimensions and levels of awareness. I am doing my best to be better every day and to spread my love, gratitude, and faith into the world. My mother and sister are all reading and trying to manifest this information as well. Thank you very much. And thank you very much. And to TLS. And I am wishing that we will all make it to the age of love together in peace and harmony as one. Please keep your amazing energy and light and let us all share it with the world. Thank you. With lots of love, Sophia." So Sophia, the second I got that email, my team sent it to me and I said, who is this person? What's going on? How is she 13? I want to speak to her. I want to interview her because I want to show the world that the next generation does have a lot of hope as well. So if I may, I have a question for you. At your age, with your experience so far, what interested you into going down this rabbit hole, into learning about the things that most people your age are not even thinking about at all? What brought you there?
Well, we have a close friend, and we're chatting on Signal, and he sent us one day a video, Disclosure, Jason Shirka. So my mom, my sister, and I, we watched it together, and I found it really, really interesting or fascinating for me. And I don't know, I just really felt some new thing open in my brain, like a new chapter, and I wanted to learn more about it. And I just don't know, I just felt that way to learn more.
Have you shared this journey with any of your friends that are your age? And if so, what was their reaction? How do you talk about this with your friends?
Well, I tried to open kind of like a virtual club on Zoom.
Okay.
And I really wanted to talk about, God and all the awareness and love around the world and kind of this stuff. And I had a few friends who in the beginning started to join, and then they kind of closed it down because nobody wanted to really attend. So nobody was really interested in what I was interested in.
Let me share something with you, because this is something that you and I have very much in common, just so you know. So 12 years ago, I was your age. We're not that different in age compared to a lot of the other people that are doing this work. Most people that I work with are 40 on the low end and 60, 70, things like that, because that's usually when people start opening up to these things. But when I was 13, I personally also was very interested in all these things, and I always felt different because I was different, and you're different. You're different, you're unique, you're doing things that people your age they're just not there. And I'm going to tell you something that I did that I would love for you to learn from, so you don't repeat what I did, because it happened when I was 13 or 14 years old. I tried doing these things and speaking to people around me and all my friends and in school and all that. And they're just like, we're not interested. And instead, because that made me feel like I was like a little different than everybody, I put on this mask and I said, I don't want to be different. I want to be like everybody else. And for about 4 or 5 years after that point, from 14 to about 18 or 19, I created this persona to try and fit in. And it all brought me to the point of understanding that there's no need to do that. So whether or not your friends or people your age understand what you're into and support what you're into, that's not what you need to be concerned about. In my opinion, first of all, I promise you, after this video, with your permission, with your family's permission, if you'd like to continue those Zoom calls, maybe we can make that happen with other people around the world, and you can be a part of leading something like that and learning things like that. And I can help set that up and put that whole thing together. But it's not just about the people that are your age that understand it. There are a lot of people on your page that support you, that want to support you, that want to see people like you doing what you're doing around the world. And my best advice that I can give you, being there 12 years ago, is continue being who you are. Continue moving into the path that you're on, because you're on it early. If you're on it early, that means that you're going to be a whole lot more advanced than most people when you're 20. You already are. But when you're 20 and 25 and 30, and there's a huge and bright future ahead. If I can ask you, do you have any idea what you want to do in your path when you're older? Do you have an idea of where you want to go?
Well, I am a dancer, a ballet dancer, and I would like to be a professional ballet dancer and a teacher. I really love dancing, even just, it doesn't have to be ballet. I just love dancing and the flow and the energy and how I put my heart into it.
Okay.
So I'm hoping to be a professional ballet dancer.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And in terms of the work that you're doing right now, you're obviously reading a lot, you're watching a lot. Now, based on your initial email, you're saying that there were certain parts that are, hard for you to comprehend. Can you elaborate on those parts? Maybe I can help you. You got me right in front of you right now.
Well, there are lots of things, like in some of your disclosures, I'll have to like pause the video and kind of, I don't know, process it through my brain what, let's say, Ray is really talking about. So lots of things about what's happening in the world with all the politics or the global stuff. And since I'm only 13 and I don't really like watch any of the news or anything, I kind of have to, my mind, it's hard for it to accept it, you could say. So I find lots of things in rays of light, let's say. I have quite a few questions regarding some stuff. Let's say for the whole not eating meat thing, I'm kind of working towards eating less animals because we are living on a farm and everything.
Okay.
And there's a few questions that Ray said or asked Rabbi AA about the whole honey and stuff. And I'm kind of wondering if you are also able to eat, let's say, eggs. Is that harming or eating animals, or is drinking milk or eating cheese also like not a good thing?
Okay, so first of all, that's a great question. None of this is about good or bad. None of this is about judgment one way or another. And I wouldn't even say that there's a right way or a wrong way either. I have a lot of friends. I have, people in my family. I personally was born and raised a vegan, so it's a lot easier for me. But there are some people that try and go that route and they really don't feel good. And maybe it's not for them. And I would encourage you to ask yourself that question. Also, don't just try to do something because you think it's the right thing to do. Also feel your body. And maybe you're going to try and, go vegan, and it's not going to be great for you in the beginning. And maybe it will be great. But my point is, bridge the gap between what you think and what you feel, because feeling is a very big part. A lot of people try to push themselves into doing something because they're saying, well, I need to do that. But, they're not acknowledging what their body is telling them what to do or what not to do. Now, when it comes to what you're reading in Rays of Light, I see your focus is this good for the animal or bad for the animal? Is this harming the animal or not harming the animal? Let's elaborate on something here. And I'll give a quick little lesson. I think this was spoken about in Rays of Light, I believe. But I was given this lesson directly. So think of it not in terms of harming, not harming, or what's right and wrong. Think of it just in terms of energy. So why do you eat? You eat because human beings are what we call heterotrophs. Heterotrophs are things that get their food from outside of themselves. Autotrophs are plants. Plants make their food directly, so they don't need to depend on another source. It's them and the sun. That's the difference. So as a heterotroph, which is what you and I are, all human beings are that, because we get our food from external sources. We get our energy from that food. Now the question is, what is the quality of the energy that you're consuming? And the quality is defined or dictated, if you want to say, by how close that energy is to source. Source is the sun, light. That energy is where we get everything else from. So when somebody like the rabbi is saying you're better off going closer to the plants and the vegetables and the herbs, you can take it to the point of harming and not harming. But his focus is more so on the energy that you're consuming and the vibration of the food that you're consuming. So if you go in the pyramid of energy, you would see that on top would be the autotrophs, the plants, the vegetables, the herbs, all those things that get their energy directly from the sun. So it's a direct source from the sun. Secondary would be herbivores. Herbivores is like chicken, cow, beef, things like that. Why? Because they eat the plants, which get their energy from the sun. So the herbivores are a secondary. It's diluted once. That energy is now diluted further from the sun. The third level would be a carnivore. Carnivore is what eats the other animals, right? So it eats meat. That would be a secondary form of dilution. So that brings you now further away. It's still connected to the sun. It's still connected to source. It's still, everything is connected to God. There's nothing that's not connected to source. There's just how far or close are you to that source energy. And then I would say the last or the lowest part of that pyramid would be processed foods, Doritos, Cheetos, chips, things that you're making that aren't real. So the reason why I'm sharing that with you is because it's not about right or wrong here. It's just about how do you want to live? Where do you want to get your energy from? And what is your body ready for? Because sometimes people that have been eating meat for their whole lives, they go vegan overnight, and that's not good. That's not good because their body isn't used to it. So I believe in, if you're going to choose to do that, do it slow, take your time. Don't judge yourself one way or another, because this isn't about right or wrong. It's just about what feels best for you, and this is guidance along the way. All you're reading in Rays of Light is, in other words, saying if you're going to eat from the highest source closest to the sun. And that will help you raise that vibration of being, of who you are as well. That's pretty much the lesson, whether anybody agrees with it or not. But that's the lesson of what the book is trying to explain. Does that
Thank
make
you so
sense?
much. Yes.
Okay. I'm happy to answer any other questions, anything that was like a hard part for you to understand, something that maybe you're dealing with, whatever it is. I'm happy to answer those questions if you have anything else.
I just have one more question.
Sure.
As for spiritual, or let's say like Ray, in the Rays of Light book, it said that he was in the third dimension when Rabbi AA came to him, or it was Adam who came to him and spoke with him. And I know later on in the book that Ray has done an out-of-body experience. And do you have to be on a certain level to do that, or does it not matter which dimension or level of awareness you're at?
To do things like out of body, let me first start with this. I've only done it myself once, and it lasted a very short period of time because personally, I got scared when it happened, and I kind of pulled back. There's nothing to be afraid of. Let's start with that. It was just the way that it happened to me personally was, and I don't know if this happens with all other people, but when you experience that separation so-called, between the body and the soul, whatever you want to call that, what I experienced was it was like a vibration that was loud. It was very loud, and I didn't know what to do. And I did it, and then I got scared and it pulled right back, and I never did it since. I still have to work on it. What I will say is that the cleaner you are, both mentally, physically, spiritually, emotionally, on all levels, the cleaner you are, the easier it will be for you to do things like that. Because so long as you're living in a toxic body, let's say, and that doesn't just mean physical, that can also mean emotional things that you're dealing with, then your being will always be preoccupied with trying to deal with that as opposed to dealing with your spiritual nature of what you're able to do. So in short, as you become more aligned and clear and clean on all sides of the coin, on all levels of being, that is what going to a higher dimension is. So the answer is yes. You have to be at a certain point to be able to do that. Some people do it spontaneously without even understanding what they're doing, but it's because they're at a certain level. Now, it doesn't mean that if you go and eat a bunch of clean food, you'll be able to do that, because that's not all that it's about. That's a piece of it. There's so many different pieces, and for some people it will be easier, and for some people it will be harder. My intuition tells me for somebody like you, it's going to be easier because you're not the normal 13-year-old that's doing what normal 13-year-olds do. And I wasn't either. You're somebody that's already interested in this for one reason or another, which means that there's something inside of you. There's something within you that is just being developed and activated. And my recommendation to you is just continue going on your path. Your path is that path of reaching higher levels of awareness. You're extremely aware as it is. So imagine where you're going to be in a year or 2 years or 5 years or 10 years. Write down your goals. I promise you, somebody like you will beat your goals. You'll beat your goals. When I was 20, I wrote where I wanted to be when I was 25, and I broke all those goals by 22. And then I did it again, and I broke all those goals in 12 months. And it's because when you have that ambition and motivation, you can reach whatever you want to reach. So when it comes to where you're at, stay on your path. Remember to balance. And this is all a part of raising your vibration, reaching higher dimensions to get to where you want to get to. You're exactly where you need to be, but to get where you want to get to in your vision. Remember one thing, reaching a higher place does not mean that you turn into some Buddha and guru that uses, big words and tries to show people that you're spiritual. In my opinion, it's the exact opposite. You still live in this world. Remember that you still live in this world. Remain grounded in what you're doing. So be able to connect with the common person and the highly evolved individual simultaneously. That to me is the definition of a master. And I believe that you can do that. But always remember not to get lost on the path either. Because the more you go into this, you will see that in the spiritual community, there are also a lot of people that are lost because they took it to the other side of the extreme. So remember to always remain balanced, keep checking yourself, ask your family to be there for you and tell you and guide you along the way, even if they have to tell you something that's not comfortable to hear. You know, we're here for each other. We're here to check each other. We're here to ground each other. And we're here to balance each other. Remain balanced on your path. You're in an extremely critical point right now of where you're at. Continue on it. Remain balanced along the way. And just know that, first of all, I'm always here and the Unified team is always here for you. And if you would like to continue those Zoom meetings with your permission and with your mom's permission, I could put together an email. I could link that email under this video. We can have people start reaching out, and maybe you and your mom together can moderate that and put together awesome meetings where you guys have, you know, book clubs on the pyramid code and, you know, talks or Zoom calls to just experience each other and chat with each other. That will be up to you and your mom. But if you guys choose to do that, I'm more than happy to you know, make that happen and be a part of constructing that for you.
Thank you so much. We would definitely love to do that.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, no problem. So what I'll do is I'm going to put together an email. We're going to make it and we're going to hand it over to you guys. And that email will be in the link in the description below for anybody to reach out and pretty much say, I want to be a part of this community that Sophia is building. And through that, you guys take it from there. We'll just give you the basic resource of helping you with the reach through this video, giving you the email so you can coordinate from there. And maybe we can do an update in a few months and see how it is and where you're at.
That would be great. Thank you so much, Jason.
Awesome. Sophia, I have one last question for you.
Yes.
What is your vision of how the world will look when you're 30 or 40? How do you want to see the world? Where do you see it going?
I have actually kind of seen this vision before after the pyramid code when they talked about the age of love. And I just kind of imagine like in nature, you know, everything is pure and clean and we are all united as one. And there's no judgment. There is no like nothing, no wars, no weapons, none of that. And it's just love towards each other. And just a beautiful, clean, pure world that we're all together.
I love it. I'm here to create that world with you, and I know everybody else is too. So I want to say thank you, and thank you for stepping up. Thank you for sending that email. And remember, if you show who you are, the world will be able to see who you are, and you stepped up to make that happen. So keep it up. We're here for you. We will be in touch. We're going to put together an email for you, get that whole thing started. And until next time, I look forward to hearing from you next and seeing the updates.
That's great. I just have one more question if you have time to answer it.
Yeah, talk to me.
How exactly do you know which dimension you're in?
It's a good question. I don't know how to answer that question because I had the privilege of having individuals that know certain techniques to read where I'm at. But I'll tell you one thing, it really doesn't matter. Because let's say I was able to do that to you. And I said, Sophia, you're at Alpha 7. Okay, who cares? You're still able to do what you're able to do, and you're not able to do what you're not able to do. So the point is let's forget about the labels of where you're at or where somebody tells you that you're at. Do your best, be your best, and you will be exactly where you need to be. That's my recommendation over there.
That's exactly what my mom says.
Perfect. It's not about numbers and it's not about labels. Those are, they're fun. They're cool to know. But I'll tell you one thing, I've been read multiple times. It hasn't changed my life in any way because, okay, now what? They just gave me a label and a number. It doesn't really mean anything because I could still do what I can do and I can't do what I can't. So the moral of the story, focus on being your best, focus on reaching your highest potential. You are exactly where you need to be and you will get to exactly where you need to be as well.
Thank you so much, Jason.
Thank you very much.